Hey guys, it's Teaksy here, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I am going to be bringing you my week 1 review here of Modern Warfare 3 and going into detail on some of the things that I've liked and some of the things that I have maybe not liked as much or things that I feel maybe just need some tweaking. As always, everything in this video is just my opinion. I appreciate not everybody will agree, but just respect my opinion and I'll respect yours, and this is going to be purely on just multiplayer. We're not going to be talking about zombies at all, but we do have a lot of things to talk about, so let's jump into it. So for me, the beta was quite rough, right? I didn't play the beta an awful lot. I was only on the beta probably for a couple of hours, got absolutely destroyed. So I feel like although it always changes from the beta to release, this has almost been like a real kind of new experience for me, you know, this past week or so. This has kind of been my first proper time getting on the game and really getting some time on and getting a feel for it. So I'm going to start off with the good things that we knew about in no particular order before the game kind of released. So obviously we've got a classic mini-map with red dots now, working as you'd expect it to work, you know, when people fire unsilenced weapons. You can see them on the mini-map, very, very basic, and good to see that has returned. Obviously, we've got 150 HP, so the TTK is a little bit higher, which for me is better. It's a little bit inconsistent at times, I have noticed, but I don't know if that's just because you kind of notice it more with bad guns when the TTK is higher. Obviously, when you've got fast TTK, you could be using the worst gun in the game and it feels like you're just dropping people. So we'll have to see how that goes, but it has felt a little bit inconsistent, but I'd much rather have a longer TTK. The Ninja perk is obviously returned. What an unbelievable difference Ninja makes. It just feels so nice to be gliding around the map with silent footsteps. And also using that with the Ghost perk, it just makes me so happy, right? If you've been around this channel for a while, you know, give me Ninja and Ghost together and I'm happy, right? I'm having fun. So that has been really, really nice. Obviously having all of the perks from the start of the game just makes sense. I never thought I'd have to be putting that into a video about things that I liked, but obviously last year we had that different system for whatever reason and it just didn't work, so it's good to see that we're having all perks. You just pick what you want and you've got them. War mode has returned. It's good to see it back, although it's not really for me. I mean, and I know in the first couple of days there was some mega spawn trapping going on and people were dropping some crazy high kill games. They have now removed, I think, the stats from war mode, which I think is how it worked previously. I don't know. It's kind of weird because I guess when you had stats in there, people were just playing for stats. But then once you take stats out, I think because there's only one map and the objective doesn't really change from time to time, for me it just gets a little bit tedious. But, you know, it's good to have it back and it's good to have another mode that people can play. Movement is really, really good. You know, it was good in the beta, to be fair. I think as well, Sledgehammer already making changes, as for some reason on release of this game they'd kind of reverted back to week 1 beta movement with the tack sprint and the delay from sort of sliding. I believe that has now been changed, so it should be really moving around the map at speed now, but the movement does feel really, really crisp and really, really fluid. Just feels genuinely very nice. Reload cancelling has obviously come back again. It's just one of those things, it just makes so much sense and it feels so nice in this game to just be able to cancel the reload if you need to. And last but not least, map voting is back again. It's such a simple thing, but it makes a huge difference and it's really, really nice to just see people voting for maps. And okay, you know, we do get a lot of rust when it comes up, you know, you're always going to get that, but it is nice to have map voting in there because, you know, it's nice to have the choice at the end of the day. Okay, so moving on to some of the good things in the game that I've really, really liked, stuff that we maybe didn't know about as much. So leaderboards in the game from the start is absolutely huge, right? I mean, leaderboards are so simple. It's so cool to sort of see your stats and to be able to measure up against your friends and measure up against where you are in the world. I appreciate that maybe stats don't mean as much in the modern day era. I know when I was at school, everybody wanted to beat everybody. You know, you wanted to have the highest KD, you wanted to have the highest win-loss, you wanted to have the highest prestige, all that good stuff. Maybe not quite the same now, especially for me being a little bit older, less people I know sort of playing the game, but I do like to have leaderboards in there to kind of see how I'm performing. I always take leaderboards, that is absolutely fine for me if you can just put that in, but obviously in the last few years we haven't always had that. But we've got real breakdown of stats in this game. Like the breakdown in this game is really, really mad, and as far as I can see, everything is tracking, because I know that there were certain stats in Vanguard that just did not track, and it's just like, you know, you want to have a combat record and you want to have the breakdown of these stats, but if it's not tracking, it just looks tacky, it just looks weird. So it's good to see they're tracking in this game. You've got it for like different maps and modes and your weapons and your KD and your win-loss, all that good stuff on different maps and different modes. Honestly, it's just so cool. I'm a nerd for all that stuff, so it's really, really good to see all that in there. Obviously, private match. This might sound silly, but it's good to see it's there from the start of the game, right? You know, because you can go in, you know, especially if you make content to do like thumbnails, or if you're trying to make some videos looking at, you know, the differences in the maps now compared to the original Modern Warfare 2. It's just nice to have private match there, because I think as well, normally when I get a new Call of Duty, I like to just jump into private match for 5 or 10 minutes just to kind of get a feel for the game, you know, before you dive into the sweatiness that is you know, public matches. And it was nice to be able to do that on this game, especially as well for me to try and see how my PC was going to run the game. So great to have private match in from the start. I've not played it yet, but hardcore, just having that there from release. Again, it sounds stupid to say that, but after last year's kind of mess with the tier 1 mode, it's good to see that hardcore is back from the start. Now, the camo grind this year is looking really, really good. I think it's still going to be a decent grind, but a lot of silly challenges have been removed. I appreciate that there are some absolute sweaty nutters out there that have already unlocked, you know, the mastery camo, and fair play to those guys. I don't know how anyone is finding the time to put that many hours in. But I think for your average kind of player, there's still going to be a decent grind there, but it's not going to be overly ridiculous. But I have to admit, I've not really started going for camos yet. Anything I've unlocked is just kind of naturally happened from playing the game, but I will be getting onto the camo grind. And I do think this year might be the first year since Black Ops Cold War that we actually managed to get to that mastery camo, so I'm really excited for that. Camos popping up in the game as well when you unlock them, you know, it's really good to see that. I know I've had some issues in some previous titles with that at the start of the game. Calling cards have returned, and they're in the top right hand corner when anything happens in the game, whether it's a first blood, a bomb plant, capturing a hill, calling a kill streak. It makes such a huge difference. It's so simple, but it makes a big difference. It just looks so much nicer in that top right hand corner when it brings your name up and it's got whatever fancy calling card you've got. It looks really, really nice in this game, and it's just huge to see that in there. Medal pop-ups in the game as well. It's good to see them there. Again, it's something that's sort of a staple in Call of Duty. It's very, very little, but it makes a big difference. And when completing challenges in this game, it plays like some kind of cool music when you complete a challenge. And again, that's cool, right? You know, that's a nice little added thing in there, because I know we've had that throughout the years, and I think it was like, was it like the original Modern Warfare 2 maybe, where you leveled up or something and it played that kind of music? So yeah, really cool to see that stuff in there as well. The gunplay feels really good for the most part. You know, the game for me has not actually been too buggy. I know there have been some bugs and issues and stuff that other people have, you know, found and seen, but for me, since I got over my packet burst issues, which was more a personal problem, I'd done something on my PC, found a video. I have a lack of PC knowledge, if I'm being honest. Found this video, told me what to fix, I changed it, and my game is running absolutely fine now, and I'm not really having any issues. So yeah, the game is running really smoothly, for me at least. Visibility in the game, much better for me. I feel like you can really see players. You know, I'm not having any visibility issues like I did in my short time on the beta. I believe kill streaks getting called in is all good now. You know, enemy and friendly, you kind of get told when that's happening. I think there was something in the beta where maybe enemy streaks, it made a noise instead, and sometimes you wouldn't always process that when you're kind of playing. So, you know, again, it sounds stupid, but it's good to see that that is there. And the last but not least good thing that I wanted to talk about is the maps. Now, it's good to see all of the original Modern Warfare 2 maps in the game. They absolutely look beautiful. You know, they may have changed a little bit aesthetically from what they were once, you know, in the original game, you know, with modern day graphics and all that. But it's really good to see them in there, and a particular bunch of them are playing really well. And I would much rather a game release with these maps rather than some of the rubbish ones we've had in the past few years. But the reason I left maps till last is because this kind of leads us into our negatives as well, because there are some negatives surrounding the maps. So for me personally, one of the biggest issues I had was that some of these maps are just not 6v6, right? Some of these maps worked in the original Modern Warfare 2 because of 9v9 ground war. And, you know, certain maps just do not play well in 6v6. I think for Search and Destroy, sometimes it can be different. I'm not a big S&D player, so I don't really like to comment. But for Respawn, you know, maps like Afghan and Estate, Derail, Wasteland, you know, they're just too big in my opinion. So 10v10 is on the way. I'm not sure, you know, how they're going to do that yet. I'm hoping that 10v10, you know, they put some of the bigger maps in there and maybe take them out of the map pool for 6v6. It's a little bit the same way, like, if you have 10v10 on Rust, it sounds good on paper, but you know it's just going to be absolute carnage. So, you know, I don't know what they're going to do, but it would be good to see some maps maybe left in 6v6 Some maps put in 10v10, and then the maps that kind of work for both could be played in both. But, you know, we'll kind of see. We'll see how that's going to work out. But, yeah, it's just a little bit frustrating because, you know, some of the maps, you know, there's just no point, you know, really playing them 6v6. Good news, though, again, I know we're kind of on the negatives now, but there is news already of 3 new maps coming in Season 1, which is Greece, Rio, and Meat. It's really cool that they've already announced this, because I know that they said there was going to be, I think, 12 all-new 6v6 core maps throughout the Modern Warfare 3 seasons, and the fact that we're only a week into the game, and there's already pictures of these surfacing online, and already announcements being made, I think it's really, really cool. And the fact that they're completely new maps, I know that doesn't mean they're going to be good, right? We don't know until we get our hands on them. We don't really know an awful lot about them at this stage. But the fact that there are new maps coming is really, really nice. And it's going to be good to get them mixed in with the OG Modern Warfare 2 maps. Unfortunately, there are some maps coming back from Modern Warfare 2 2022. I'm not so sure I'm happy about that. I don't think there was any maps in Modern Warfare 2 2022 that I really felt were that good they needed to come back. But I think Mikado might be, Farm 18, and a couple of others, and maybe some more throughout the seasons, which for me, I don't think they're needed, but, you know, we'll see. We'll kind of see how that plays out, but at least we know there are some brand new maps coming, and I really hope that some of them are going to be decent. So, one of the biggest negatives coming out of Week 1 of Modern Warfare 3 was the new armory system. Now, basically, this new armory system is being used to unlock specific items within the game. Now, not everything is unlocked through the armory system, but there are a lot of things. You know, you've got certain weapons, certain perks, kill streaks, field upgrades, and basically this system, just for me, was completely dumb on release, because what you had to do is you had to complete your 3 daily challenges, and each daily challenge you completed earned you a point towards unlocks. And then once you completed your daily challenges, every game that you won beyond that point would then gain you another point for unlocking something. Now, you can unlock them in any order. You can choose the things that you want to prioritise. But the problem I had was, on day 1, my daily challenges were not tracking, which was just amazing. But the other problem I've had is that throughout this week, you know, although I create content, I work full-time, right? And I have other commitments. And when you come home from work and you maybe got a couple of hours to play, the last thing I really want to be doing is messing about doing some daily challenges. Now, don't get me wrong, some days I've had some really nice ones, but other days you get some and you're just like, oh, I just don't really want to sit around doing that. And it kind of starts to limit you on what you can do, because you know that you need to do these challenges in order to start unlocking things. And then, you know, you've got the problem of, you know, I reached max level and I still had loads of stuff I hadn't unlocked, whereas with a normal system, you just unlock them through your levels, and you would, you know, you'd have everything. And it just kind of feels like it's delayed me a little bit this week on being able to make progress. Good news though, Sledgehammer have come out and changed this. I do believe it's now going to be every game you win, regardless of your daily challenges, that you unlock things. So this seems like a happy middle ground. I still think the old system would have just been better, where you unlock things at specific levels. But, you know, fair play, they've made a change. Winning games is going to be a little, you know, it's going to be better than having to do the daily challenges first. It's still a little bit annoying having to win games, because, you know, with the skill base and everything now, you know, sometimes some games you just can't win. But I think overall this should balance out quite well. But yeah, I had to mention it as a negative, but obviously by the time this video is going out, the change will have been made, so it probably isn't going to be as much of a negative now. But I know it was probably limiting a lot of players like myself who can't put all of the hours in every day on unlocking specific things. Next up, being capped at level 55 is a little bit frustrating. I think when a new COD releases, that's when everybody's grinding it, trying to level up weapons. And it just feels like you get to level 55 and you get stuck. It'd be nice if you could continue to make some sort of progression in terms of levels. Seasonal prestige is returning. However, I do believe some Sledgehammer Games developers came out and said they were a little bit disappointed that they couldn't return to a normal prestige system in this game. Although I think it might have been something that was discussed or looked into. I feel going forwards that the original prestige system is something that can definitely return within Call of Duty at some point. You know, I know there's all this cross progression between games with Warzone and everything now, but for me, have cross progression for absolutely everything except levels, right? Just have a separate level for multiplayer, a separate level for Warzone, even zombies. You know, I'm pretty sure they did it in Black Ops 3 where you had your multiplayer prestige and you had zombies prestige, right? And whatever game mode you played the most was the game mode that you would have the highest prestige in. And I think it'd be cool to have that, you know, where you could have a player who's like, I don't know, 10th or 15th prestige on Warzone, or 10th or 15th prestige on multiplayer. You know, you're rewarded for the game mode, or the mode that you play. But yeah, I feel like there is a way they can bring back a normal prestige system. But it is good to see that at least discussions were had, and they are thinking about it, right? You know, they are looking at possibly doing it, you know, maybe moving forwards. Whether it will ever happen, I don't know, but it's kind of good. I feel like this is the first time in a long time that we've actually heard it from developers where they've kind of come out and said, oh, you know, we're disappointed, we would have liked to have had an original prestige system. So next up, you've got the UI/voiceovers. So in many ways, it does feel like Modern Warfare 2, and I know in a way it kind of is Modern Warfare 2, or maybe this game is what Modern Warfare 2 should have been. Thankfully, it doesn't really bother me an awful lot, and I do feel like this game plays completely different to Modern Warfare 2, even if it might feel a bit like Modern Warfare 2 with the different maps and the way the game plays, it feels different. I think that's why I don't really want Modern Warfare 2 2022 maps to come back, because I feel like if you're playing on those maps, it will feel a lot like Modern Warfare 2. But I guess for the players who played last year, it might be a little bit frustrating, you know, hearing the same voiceovers for capturing points and the same kind of in-game sounds. But, you know, overall, it's not a massive thing, but I felt like I just wanted to mention it. Again, as well with the next thing, it's not a huge thing, but having Modern Warfare 2 guns in this game from the start seems a bit frustrating. I haven't come across too many Modern Warfare 2 weapons, I have to admit. But it would have been nice if they maybe could have just, you know, at least wait until maybe Season 1 to put these in. Just give everybody that pre-season to use the Modern Warfare 3 guns and level them up before people start using like Vaznevs and TAC-56s. But at the end of the day, they've gone with this. I haven't come across too many, so, you know, it is what it is. But it just felt like something that I wanted to mention, because I do think it's a little bit of a negative. So next up, I want to talk about the spawns. Now, the spawns, I don't know, they feel a bit dodgy at the moment. The hardpoint spawns are horrible, right? I'm not really playing hardpoint at the moment. One, it's the most competitive mode to play. But secondly, the spawns are horrible in that mode. Now, domination spawns don't work quite how I traditionally think they should in terms of how they work for a lot of years, where if you had A and B, they spawn C. It kind of works like that, but it feels like they're a lot more fragile than they once were. It's almost like you push up a little bit too far, they instantly flip, whereas before you had to almost push right in the spawn to make them flip out in domination. Team deathmatch and kill confirmed, you expect the spawns to flip quite a bit, so that's kind of normal. Control, I think the control spawns are okay, but I've not really played it enough and played enough maps to really get a true reading on how the spawns are actually working. But I do think the spawns need looking at, right? I think specifically in hardpoint, they look absolutely terrible. But I do believe there was some sort of meeting possibly between some Sledgehammer devs and some people talking about the spawns, because obviously for ranked play, the hardpoint spawns are going to need changing, right? Because right now they are not great. So spawns not brilliant, not horrible, it's kind of in the middle somewhere, but hardpoint is terrible. They need to sort them out. So last but not least, I want to talk about skill-based matchmaking. Now, it's been really rough. The first 2 or 3 days on this game were incredibly rough. You know, everybody was in there, everybody was playing it, everyone's trying to level up their guns, and it was sweaty, right? It was sweaty. Now, we expected it, so I'm not gonna completely moan, but there are 2 things about skill-based matchmaking in this game that have frustrated me the most, and I wanted to talk about them. So the first one is team balancing. Now, I appreciate that team balancing cannot always be perfect, but there's nothing more frustrating than being in a lobby where you're playing players that are either slightly better than you or players of your ability, and you've just got no teammates and you're expected to carry these teammates. And I've been in that position as well, where I've been one of the players that's been carried by a teammate, or a teammate's had to try and carry us. And I think that just kind of comes under that manipulated system. It's almost like the game kind of knows who's going to win before the start of a game, and you know that the system's manipulating your experience. You know that, but it is frustrating when the team balancing is so bad, because you're just like, what are we doing here? Especially now that there's more emphasis on winning to unlock things. You've got to give everybody in the lobby a bit more of a fair chance, but you know, that's just me. And the other thing is connection. Now, I know that skill-based matchmaking has prioritize skill over connection for a long time now, but I have not had it as bad as I've had it in week 1 of Modern Warfare 3. The amount of lobbies I've been put in where you just join and you're on like packet loss of like 25-30%, you're looking at the scoreboard, your latency is bouncing up to like 999, and you're just like, what are we doing here, right? Like, I appreciate that you want to have a skill-based matchmaking system, and you know, I can kind of settle with it to a certain degree. But if you're gonna have it, at least make it work fairly, right? You can't just give people a lobby with terrible connection just because you want them to be in that skill bracket. Like, it's just ludicrous to think that they would rather put you in a lobby where you're lagging than give you a decent connection, maybe against a bit more of an easier lobby. I don't know. It just blows my mind that they think lagging is less important than the skill base you're in. And the other thing that's frustrated me, right, and I guess that every game is a little bit different, but I have played against quite a lot of players that have got either the Crimson emblem and sort of calling card from where they've reached Crimson rank in Modern Warfare 2 ranked play, or Iridescent, or top 250, right? And what makes me laugh is that the highest rank I got to in ranked play on Modern Warfare 2 was Diamond. So I could possibly have played against Crimson players. But in a ranked play system, I would not have been put against Iridescent or top 250 players because of my rank, right? The game would have gone, you are not high enough level to play these guys yet. You've got to earn the right to play in that bracket. Whereas in pubs, I'm getting put against people that were in Crimson and Iridescent, and it's like, what is that all about? Like, in an actual full-on ranked play system, the game would go, you can't play these players because you're not at that level yet. But I'm playing them in pubs. Like, honestly, it blows my mind, right? I know we've all moaned about skill-based matchmaking, and we know it's going to be there, and you can't really change it. And overall, my experience has not been too bad as the game's gone on this week. Like, the first, like I say, 3 or 4 days were horrible. But I've started to find some slightly better lobbies recently. But those things I've just spoke about, the team balancing, the connection, and the playing like absolute iridescent top 250 players, it blows my mind, right? But I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to moan about skill-based matchmaking too much, but I just had to touch on those things. So overall, guys, I am having fun with this game, right? I made a week 1 review video a year ago for Modern Warfare 2, and I think I did that because I was really struggling with the game and I just needed some content, and I thought, you know what, I can talk about the things that I don't like about this game. Whereas this year, a lot more positivity, right? Yes, there's been some negatives, but they're not all horrible. They're things that could possibly change or things that you could possibly look past, and I appreciate that this game is probably what Modern Warfare 2 should have been, and the normal things like skill-based matchmaking may bring it down at times. But I would much rather play this than have to wait another year for a new game. You know, as far as modern Call of Duties go, I think this is one of the best ones we've had for a little while. And I think if you can look past some of the annoying things, you'll have fun. And if you can't, you probably just need to step away from Call of Duty. Like, you know, we all want things to go back to how they were, right? You know, we all want it to go back to a normal matchmaking system. But you have to admit, they have listened to community feedback, right, on this game. You know, there's a lot of things that they've changed that we've always wanted. They're already making changes with things that we don't agree with within the game, like the armory system and the movement with the tac sprint delay. You know, they're doing what they can, right? And I'm sure there's certain things where their hands are tied behind their back, maybe by Activision or whatever. But, you know, as far as I can see, this game is a step in the right direction, right? Yes, maybe it's what MW2 should have been, but would you not rather this than just playing year 2 of Modern Warfare 2, how it was? You know, I'd much rather this. At least it's a step in the right direction. You know, they're talking about the original prestige system, so we can only pray that maybe at some point in the future things will change. But right now, this game for me has been fun. You know, one of the best releases I've had for a Call of Duty in quite some years, and I'm going to continue to enjoy it for now. I have to admit, the longevity of this game will depend on the skill base and the sort of content they bring in the maps, because, you know, at the moment there's no ranked play, there's no Warzone, so everybody's playing this, right? So once Warzone and ranked comes out, that should take some of the sweatiness out of multiplayer. And you know, like I say, on every Call of Duty, the skill base gets better as the year goes on because there's less players playing. But I think a lot of it will come down to maps. You know, the new maps coming in, are they going to be decent? You know, it's good to play these original Modern Warfare 2 maps, but eventually it's going to get a bit repetitive. We need the new maps coming in to be decent, but at least already we are being made aware of 3 new maps that have come in, you know, a week into the game, and they're already showing us photos and stuff. You know, that's really, really good stuff. So lots of content is on the way, guys. You know, I'm just really busy, and because I'm enjoying the game, you know, I keep wanting to play, and, you know, I have to step away from playing to make the content. So, you know, we're going to be pushing out as much as we can. I've probably got enough content at the moment to be uploading every day. That's not going to be happening, but, you know, that's how much we're getting on with the game. You know, there's plenty of content coming, and I just want to say a huge thanks for all of the support on the first couple of videos. And, yeah, I think it's going to be a really positive, you know, time with this game. I don't know if it will be for the full year, but it feels nice to just be making content on a new game. This is the first time outside of Black Ops Cold War that I've settled into a new Call of Duty, and it feels really, really good, and I appreciate all of your continued support, and you guys just motivated me to keep on making the content, and I really appreciate that. So if you have enjoyed today's video, please do hit the like button down below, and please do let me know your thoughts down in the comment section if you have been playing the game. If you're brand new around here and want to find your way back for more, please do consider subscribing to the channel. And as always, guys, I hope everyone's a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.